their purpose. The church of God today, even in this country, has become so filled with ritual and rules and other things that they've forgotten the true purpose of the church. You know what the word, we hear a lot about these protesters. Do you know what the word Protestant, we are Protestants, you know what that means? Protesters. We are supposed to not blend in. We are supposed to not go along and get along. We're supposed to stand up and stand out and be different. What they're preaching in the world today is globalism. Everyone has to be included. No, that's not of God. God says, come out from among them and be ye separate, saith the Lord. And from this time, thousands of years ago, up until today, Christianity, true Christians I'm talking about, not those that call themselves Christian and live in the world. True Christians, true believers that come to church with a desire to hear, to know what's God's message today. What does God have for me? To those, we are few in number. We have always been, just like the nation of Israel has always been the minority, we as Christians will always be the minority. Until we get to heaven, until the Lord comes back, then things are going to change. But until then, we are not in the majority. We are in the minority. So we see here Mordecai and Esther. And God's working his plan. And he's orchestrating his work. To do what? To save his people from being destroyed. That's what the story of Esther is about. Saving God's people from destruction, from death. And he was using Mordecai and Esther to do just that. So what happens? This Haman, his plan backfired on him. Just like those presidents and the princes. Listen, in Daniel's story, those men that tricked the king to throw him in the lion's den, when they went the next day, we know, right? They opened it up and there was Daniel. Praise the King of Daniel. Worship the King of Daniel. And what happened to those presidents and princes that schemed and connived to get rid of Daniel? They were thrown in the lion's den. Remember the men that threw Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego into that fiery furnace? They burned up in the furnace. And this Haman, who devised this plan to kill Mordecai and all the Jews, he made this gallows for Haman, for Mordecai to be killed on. Guess who wound up hanging on that gallows? Haman. The story was reversed. The Lord flipped it around. All things work